In a world of remakes and remasters,
Are we playing for
what was once sacred and cool has now soured and become lame.
keeps?
Gone are the days of pods and cowabunga. Now is the reign of slurp juice and dabs. Kids these days don't even know how bad they've got it. Now it's up to the best generation to rise to the occasion and make a show that dares to go where a lot of other nerdy shows have already gone quite a bit. That's right. They're going to talk about it a lot. Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. This is Best Gen, where nerds complain about nerdy things, and it's called Best Gen because we're all roughly from the same generation. We happen to think that it's the best one, but not because we're better than you. But our movies and entertainment certainly were. So strap on in and prepare to wax nostalgic as we reminisce upon the days of yore, while simultaneously complaining about the utter filth that's being pumped out of the Hollywood sludge pipes of the dumb. I'm really not liking Loki, and I still haven't watched this episode.
You're not liking this thing that I haven't watched. I hate it.
I give it a shot. I'll start it. I'm like, no, I can't do this. Can't do it. But we've got a slight reprieve. We've got Invincible back after like 2.5 years. Holy crap. And they've already set, they've made so many announcements already saying don't worry guys, season 3 is not going to be this long.
It's always tough when they have to wait until the season is done, and then they're told, yes, you're renewed, and then they get to start work on it. And because it'd be nice if they could start working on it a little earlier, but then they don't know if they can because they don't know if they're going to get renewed. And that's a tough, it sucks. Really sucks.
But it's back for season 2, 1 episode, and they're doing it weekly because they're smart.
Yeah. Wait. You're not supposed to compliment Amazon Prime. That's not how this is supposed to work.
Amazon Prime is the one that still comes out with some good things. Now they also come out with the Wheel of Prime, so it's some of the best and some of the worst, right?
I do actually have one question for you. So I haven't been hearing a ton about Wheel of Time besides you guys, right?
Because that would be that's because no one is watching it.
What I will say is there are the few things that I have heard is that there are people who don't seem to have been book fans who didn't like season 1, feeling like it was poorly told, but that we're feeling like season 2 is a little bit better told or presented. Obviously, we know that it is absolutely destroying the lore.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that at all? I'm just kind of curious as to if it's any better.
That's what I've said from the beginning. Is I think this show is competently made.
And I think season 2 as an improvement from season 1 is what I'm hearing.
Definitely.
Yeah. The only people saying that are the stans on Twitter. I completely disagree. I think that season ignoring the books, everything I know about the books, season 1 is much more competent than season 2. I think season 2 is an absolute mess.
The only reason
narratively it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. The production quality is a little bit better. The effects are a little teeny bit better. The acting is just as bad, if not worse. The structure and the editing are insanely horrible.
Interesting, because
season 1, for the most part, told a story, and then the ending was just nasty. It completely fumbled the ending. But season 2 was fumbling from episode 1.
Yeah. Okay.
And I do agree with that. And I think
the reason why you're hearing that though is because the people who are very loud on Twitter really liked Lanfear because Slay Queen, she's so dangerous, but her character it's not well written.
That doesn't necessarily line up with how I've been hearing about it. I've been hearing a lot of people saying like season 1 was really not my gig. It was really having a tough time, but season 2 feels like it's telling it a lot better. It's not a lot of people who are like, look at this one thing or that one thing that liked it a lot.
It's more flashy.
It really did have a problem with season 1.
Season 2 is more flashy. There's probably is it more action? No, there's not more action. It's season 2 probably has better pacing and worse structure.
Aside from the first 2.5 episodes of just Moraine and Lan just hauling buckets of water and talking about their feelings.
Yeah, the first couple of episodes
have been basically people feeling like they liked the structure and narrative of season 2 better. But
I don't understand that's physically possible. It makes no sense.
I'm definitely inferring a little extra from how I'm hearing them talk about it, but it's again also very minimal. So yeah.
From my perspective, though, I think it's a crap show. I don't like the writing. I don't like the narrative structure, the editing, like you talked about. The special effects are still very good compared to a lot of these other shows. And I don't think there's a single actress or actor that I cannot stand in this show.
Egwene?
Be said for Rings of Power and a lot of these other shows that we've been watching. They're
okay. Yeah, it's better. It's better acting than Rings of Power.
So that's why I say it's competently made. It's not good.
I was curious. I was thinking about asking last week, but I know you guys had some. You guys were going pretty hard on it, and I was like, just kind of got me thinking. I wondered kind of what was going on, and yeah.
Well, I was going to save this for later, but if you want to talk about,
if we can get Wheel of Time out of the way before we get to the.
All right, let's bring up some Wheel of Time news. First off, thanks to everyone who's in the chat. We got Mark Clark, our resident channel member. If you want to become a channel member, it's just 99 cents, and you get access to emojis and wonderful little badges, and you will be able to sleep at night knowing you're supporting a starving artist. So, you watched it in the Discord, and you don't remember 90% of what happened. Yeah. I remember it because I had to watch every episode twice, and I'm still watching it because I'm still working on my edits. But this was a very busy week. I was actually doing some collaborations, which you will see in the future.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know how much I can say, but I might be taking a business trip to film some stuff. So
cool.
That'll be fun. What was the point? I just totally lost my train of thought. We got Mark Clark in the chat. We've got us. It's Mark Clark and us right now.
Mark Clark always hanging out with us.
It's a good guy. He's a good guy. All right, let's get the Wheel of Time news out of the way. Well, first, we got my guests. You know him. I'm not going to introduce him again. News. Okay. Wheel of Time is getting an adaptation. It's not really news. Screen Rant is pretending like it's news because they published it this week. We've known this for like 5 months.
Yeah.
But it looks good. I mean, the comic book adaptations of New Spring and the Eye of the World they're really nice. And the artwork of this looks really dope, and it's got a bird Trolloc on the cover, and I like that.
Yeah,
except for what this looks.
That little badge.
Oh my gosh!
Like this
is just an eyesore.
Honestly, all things considered, even if you did like Amazon Prime, that just interrupts the.
It does. It ruins the artwork.
The artwork there. I really hope, if anything,
put it on the inside.
A sticker that you can take off, not like part of the print, like because that.
No, it's part of the print.
Yeah,
it's part of the print, and the White Cloaks they're working on they've made stickers that you can you can print out to cover up.
They'll fill in that.
The ones awesome. they're printing on, like Amazon made the new printing of the books, like with images from the show, but they also went and put these stupid circles on like the regular prints too.
I honestly, if it's one with pictures of their actors and everything, okay, sure, whatever.
Right, but don't go and do it to the other copies.
Well, and at the very least, too, make sure that this can be available without that, because this is largely, I imagine, if I understand correctly, disconnected from the Wheel of Time show. This is just.
Oh, do you mean that it might actually adapt the series?
This is just my guess here, based on what I'm.
Jared, sorry, you've been. I don't know how long you've been in the queue, and I've ignored you.
No, I just got here.
All right, he's kind of used to it. He's known you for a long time. He's your cousin,
right? Jared, when did you hear? Did you hear about this? Like I've known this for months.
I didn't know that. No. Oh, actually, I think you did bring it up.
Yeah, I brought it up months ago.
They look familiar. Yeah. So
we brought this up on this channel and looked at these images.
I don't remember that at all, so I'm sorry for sending that to you.
I think we've got a new segment called Screen Rant's Late Takes.
David, don't apologize. Like, I'm making fun of Screen Rant here. This is great. I didn't see this because maybe I did see it and scrolled right past it because I already knew.
Yeah.
But anyways, I hope they're faithful to the source material and they don't adapt stuff from the Amazon series. I am hopeful though, because the two writers are the ones that adapted the original one, I think, and it said that the one of them helped write White Sand for Brandon Sanderson and Red Rising, which I hear really great things about the Red Rising series.
I'm curious about the results on that White Sand one though, because it sounds like Brandon had a ton of problems with getting that.
So I
don't think that was a problem with any of the artists. I think it was just the bureaucracy and just the hoops he had to jump through.
Because he did end up having to change artists halfway through on the second one, I think.
I don't remember.
I really liked the new art quite a bit better myself.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the comparison. I should look that up. But I don't remember the specifics, but I do believe that one of the key artists on the first comic adaptation said he will never work with Robert Jordan again.
Well, because he doesn't have to.
Because he was so picky about this is how the dresses should look, and he had so many rewrites, and it was it was just like the hardest situation to work with.
Like I said,
that's right.
He's not going to have to if he works on book 2. He's not going to have to work with Robert Jordan. So unfortunately,
it's a very common meme that Robert Jordan just goes off. You'll get 10-page descriptions of the women's dresses in his books. So,
absolutely, yeah,
yep.
But if you're talking about who's viewing the Wheel of Time, this was. Let's look at the ratings first. The ratings are not good. Here's a nice little graph that Narg on Twitter compiled. And it just finished. We just got these numbers this week because all of the numbers are delayed, right?
Yeah.
So not the blue line, the red line down here, is season 2, and
the orange line is
season 1.
Oh, ouch!
You can see it lost 50% from week 1 to week 2, which was the first hilarious
that Ahsoka is dead level.
Yeah, Ahsoka.
But there's no uptick for the finale either. It's
literally no one cares. If you're watching Ahsoka, there's not a single new viewer, and the people who are watching are they're like David and Bearded, who are gonna keep watching Star Wars no matter how many times Disney spits in their face.
That's probably true.
It's literally just a straight line. It's bad. We knew that the Ahsoka numbers were bad, and they're better than Wheel of Time season 2.
Yep. That actually is pretty sad for Wheel of Time season 2, because all things considered, realistically, Ahsoka is going to be a very niche show. That it's not going to hit even Mandalorian numbers. And Wheel of Time is a much bigger, probably much more expensive property on its own compared to Ahsoka. Ahsoka's not the entire Star Wars franchise; it's just Ahsoka. So like the fact that it's beating out this entire franchise show.
Yep.
Yeesh.
You can see it's basically parallel with The Summer I Turned Pretty season 2, which
Never even heard of.
I haven't even heard of it, and this is its second season.
Yeah.
I believe it's also an Amazon show. So
yeah, that doesn't bode
maybe I
well.
saw a trailer for this once.
yeah, so the numbers are not looking good, and the stands on Twitter are freaking out about it. This is one of the biggest. It's really hard to read his tweets. Perrin's nose. I don't get it. But so the latest viewings rating, oh my goodness, the latest viewing ratings knocked the wind out of him because it made him so sad. And here you'll see, and I've seen this over and over with the Twitter stands. Just turn it on and have it playing in the background. Oh, please do. I've been doing it for weeks. These are the same people who believe that review bombing is real. They just turn on the show and these accounts. I see it on Twitter all the time, and I can't showcase every single tweet, right? But I sent this one just so I have some kind of evidence. I've been seeing people say this since episode 1, 2, and 3, I guess, because it dropped all at the same time. So
it's interesting. One of the other comments is, "What happened? Nothing much," which is the problem. Interesting that this might be one of the big stands that's saying, "Yeah, it just flatlined." Yeah.
But even with people like this, it still couldn't. Like, this is really, really bad, and this is why they're freaking out, because they haven't heard a season 4 renewal. Season 3 is already filming, right? And they're very, very worried about.
Season 3 started filming before we even knew when season 2 was coming out.
They're very look at that, so bad. They're very worried about season 4.
I'm hoping that they don't do a season 4, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
There's a piece of me that always likes completion of things, and so I kind of want it to finish its thing and actually not just like die halfway through, because that's almost more disappointing. Even as disappointing as this probably is, like. But I can't disagree with you. I mean, again, I'm not watching it, so I guess I don't have any stakes in it. But boy, yeah, it's hard to disagree that, like, if it's this bad, it just needs to die.
Yeah.
Brandon Sanderson also did another separate video where he talked about how One Piece is a better adaptation than The Wheel of Time. Yeah. And he's totally right. One Piece is great. Have you guys watched it yet?
I finally started the first episode, and I'm like 10 minutes in, and then
David?
I don't have access to Netflix.
You have access to other ways of accessing it. No one's watched One Piece?
I started the first episode.
It's so good.
It's been on my list for like months since it started coming out. I was like, all right, I've been hearing good things. I should check it out.
Yeah, it's really fun. So that's the Wheel of Time news. There's some other news too. Yeah, let's just finish news. Let's finish the news. David sent me this one. It's not included in bad takes because it's kind of a news announcement, but the winter is coming. From Fansided has given us a wonderful update. The Winds of Winter will not come out in November.
Yeah.
3 days ago. So 2 days
into November. I mean, theoretically, it could have come out later in November, so they're like, it's not coming out later this month.
I love it. I love these guys. Never change. Keep spitting out that content. I love it. It's hilarious. You could just put ever, just replace that, and you could publish the same article every month. Okay.
That's the plan.
The Marvels is now tracking, according to pre-sales, behind the Flash.
Ouch.
That's bad.
I mean, it's probably a lot cheaper than the Flash to make, but
maybe they've done significant. They've reshot. I think they had 2 reshoot sessions for this movie. It's like probably slightly cheaper. The Flash was very expensive because it was
all the CGI
extensive, right?
Yeah. All that gorgeous CGI that they put in there.
Yeah, them babies.
This is The Flash was the biggest comic book bomb of all time. And this could be worse.
Of the two, I was more excited to see the Flash.
On the cost. Yeah,
I didn't see the Flash.
Of the two, you were more excited to see the Flash. Yeah,
I was more excited to see the Flash, and I didn't see it.
So. I actually, again, nobody's going to be surprised. I actually am pretty excited to see this one because I watched the Marvel show and I really liked it. And
yeah,
I
like Monica Rambeau, her character, and but
I don't.
Yeah, from what I've seen from the commercials, I just meh.
Yeah, what I've seen in the commercials, her part is the part that interests me the least. Though I liked her just fine in WandaVision and everything, but yeah.
Well, and take into the normie consideration, the only reason people saw the first movie is because it was sandwiched between a cliffhanger. They drop Infinity War, kill off half of the superheroes, and then say, okay, you're gonna have to wait a year to watch the finale. But in the meantime, you have to watch Captain Marvel, and everything will be explained. And they literally tricked people into seeing that movie.
To be fair, that was their entire model because they had all the movies leading into each other, and they had post-credit scenes. So if you're gonna watch Marvel, you have to watch all of it.
Yeah.
And now
it made a lot of money. The first movie, it made a lot of money because it was in between the greatest cliffhanger of all time.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be years into the future before we get the kind of cultural event that was Infinity War. That was monumental. Everyone watched that movie and everyone was talking about it for an entire year. So of course they went and saw Captain Marvel, and a lot of people were very disappointed that they spent their money on Captain Marvel. I know I did not enjoy my time in the theater. So it made $1 billion, but with an asterisk. And then the sequel to the movie that people were forced to see and didn't like, you have to watch 2 TV shows in between just to understand who these other characters are.
Yeah.
No one's going to watch this movie.
Theoretically, a well done movie could cover for that a little bit better, but yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'm still excited about it. I saw the shows. I liked them. I liked the first one. Okay. I don't expect this one to be top tier for me or my favorite, but I think it'll be a fun time.
Well, I know if I saw it in theaters, I would have a blast, but not because the movie's good. I'm considering seeing it just because it would be funny.
Mark Clark.
Part of me wanted to mess with you and say that Endgame was your first Marvel movie.
Wouldn't put it past you.
Oh man, you honestly could have said it, and I would have believed it.
Nope, that's what I'm saying.
You're such a troll. So yeah, not looking good for Marvel, and I don't care. Disney sucks. This is the bed that you've made. Now sleep in it. Whatever. And we just got the budget for the She-Hulk TV show.
Oh my gosh.
She-Hulk was more expensive than House of the Dragon.
That is
wow.
Your main character is often CGI creationed up to whatever, but
And House of the Dragon has dragons.
Yeah.
That looks super cool.
Disney is losing so much money right now, and I love it. Here's another one. The Blade movie is in trouble. I don't even know if Mahershala is still attached. He's been threatening to leave for a long time. But this was just leaked that someone involved with the script said at one point the narrative had been twisted so much that the movie was led by women and filled with life lessons, and Blade was relegated to the 4th lead. So
I'd be shocked by that, but I mean, it's that's a pretty legit looking report if Variety's running with it to some degree.
Yeah. Did you guys see the trailer for Echo?
I did. I saw people popping up with reactions to it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Like it honestly doesn't look like it's a well-edited trailer. It doesn't look bad. It looks like it kind of is giving off the gritty Daredevil TV show vibes, which is hilarious to me because they were going to give the Daredevil TV show to Echo and give Daredevil a procedural where he doesn't put on his suit until episode 5.
Yeah.
And they've had to burn 9 entire episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Like they literally took his show, gave it to a woman, and gave him a She-Hulk show.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think they could have. I think that it is possible to have made a good show, a good procedural show with Daredevil, even if he doesn't show up in the suit until episode 5.
Sure,
possibly, it's possible.
But as long as he's still the focus,
Disney didn't. They couldn't even stomach what they made.
Disney, but because
it was so bad, they had to burn 9 episodes.
The concept of Karen and Foggy are dead or are gone or whatever, and so he's like, I'm done with it, and he's set it aside, and this is him coming back to it, being like, could be a good idea. I agree that I don't necessarily have the faith that they would have done it great.
And again, I'm not upset that they're trying to give Echo a good show.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the Echo show is good, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But they took it away from Daredevil, gave it to her, and then just made a nothing. I mean, they already crapped all over his character with She-Hulk, making him sleep with that monstrosity. But I don't care. I don't care about Marvel anymore. Like it would take a literal entire reboot. They'd have to fire everyone involved, come up with an entirely new creative team, and reboot the entire franchise before I'd have interest in Marvel again.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because just a couple years ago, they were
on fire.
They were the best one. They were a household staple. This isn't news, but I wanted to show you guys because I think it's the coolest thing I've ever seen, or is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. You guys know those like behind the scenes videos where they show you they show you how they do like photo shoots, or they do like a video shoot and then show you the process and then clip to the thing, and it's funny.
Yep.
I'm not gonna play the sound because it's really short, but this is like the funniest thing I watched. Hold on, I gotta pause the sound for me because it's blaring. Okay, this is so funny, and this is the guy that does those crappy cosplays. Like he'll like throw noodles on his face.
Oh, he's really good.
This guy's hilarious.
Yeah, he's pretty good at this.
I laughed for like 15 minutes. Okay. The music makes it better, but I don't want to, Okay, you ready?
That's hilarious.
It's so good, right?
Oh, that was good.
that one just that had me rolling, and I showed it to my wife. Stephanie, you gotta watch this. It's hilarious. I don't think it's very funny. Like, you're so uncultured.
I think it works a lot better the more of those that you've seen of those things that it's parroting. Because I haven't seen a ton of those, so I get the humor of it. But I'll bet you it would have hit a lot harder if I'd seen the. But I love.
I've been getting a lot of those in my feed for some reason. So.
Yeah,
I really enjoy watching them.
That guy's hilarious, though. You got to check him out. So good, so funny.
Yeah, that's funny.
I get a lot of those like refurbishing or like rescuing old crap that they dig out.
Oh yeah, I get some of those too.
I've just been finding out that a lot of those are probably absolutely crap, like totally not real at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm not that surprised, but I'm a little bummed because I'm like, those are fun to watch. Restoration videos, those are what they're called. Yeah.
So I'm assuming all of you guys watched Loki.
Mm-hmm.
Nope,
I did.
Jared.
Right. Jared Hour.
Did you watch Invisible?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I completely forgot it was coming out this week, or else I totally would have.
Well, once we're done with the once we're done with the discussion of Loki, maybe I'll go and watch Invincible.
Yeah.
Well, should you guys watch it?
Well, which one do you want to do? Yeah, you want to do Loki first then?
I'd rather, but
okay.
I mean, whatever.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot to talk about in Invincible. I've only one.
Yeah, I was
live
screen because the multiverse ended. It's just the whole Marvel universe just blew up. It was wild. You had just 10 minutes of emptiness and nothing, and that was it. Yeah, it was good. They stuck to it. No, just kidding.
Hard reboot.
Yeah, I didn't watch Loki, but you guys can talk about it. I can't stand it.
I don't know. So one thing I've kind of been struggling with a little bit is they went for so long pruning all these branches, and now suddenly they care so much about all these people that are on these other branches. Like, oh, pruning these branches is killing millions of lives, and it's like, well, but they're just, I mean, not to take away from the lives, but it's like it's not like the only version of that life. It's just a different version of a life, and it's always was kind of weird to me. But that's why I always struggled with Sylvie's feeling of like, no, you can't, we should just leave it be. And I appreciate that this episode they gave her, they did something that how to actually figure out, oh no, this is a problem. If you don't help us, not only is there no Kang or whatever, but there's just everything's going to be obliterated. It's just going to be a problem. So I don't know. I like that. Thought it was good.
Well, the thing with this episode is that basically what it did is it went through all the different timelines of like if those original people from the TVA were in the timeline, what their lives would be. And to be honest, I actually thought that they were going to do something like that anyways this season because they've kind of been leading up to that. Right,
it's revealing
like,
what Owen Wilson's life was like before he got sucked
what
up.
What would Mobius be doing if he was in the other universes? And so I like how they brought it in. So they said, "Hey, this is kind of what those lives would briefly look like," but then at the same time they brought it in and said, "Hey, well, they're just still alternate universes, right? So it's not necessarily the same person."
Yeah.
And the interesting thing too, I mean, it still keeps me on my toes. Like it literally got to the end of the episode, and basically this episode was all about how Loki figured out, or he found the guy, the genius behind all the mathematics with how time worked and everything. And so he's like, hey, this thing just blew up on us, but he somehow like escaped because he started like doing the weird shifting
time slipping thing. Yeah,
time slipping. That's what it was. So he time slipped out of there, and he found the guy to help him kind of figure out how to fix things. And essentially, their solution was that they needed to go back in time before it blew up and fix it. Right, which I mean is logical. If a bad event happens, then you got to figure out how to make that bad event not happen. Right, so you go and you fix it. And their solution was basically, okay, in order to do that, we've got to gather up everybody that was there and their aura, and then we've got to get them all in the same place, and then you'll be able to time slip back.
But the MCU has already established that that's not how time travel works.
Well, so that's the thing.
Different kind of time travel? I don't know.
If you go back in time and change something, it creates a new timeline. It doesn't fix the timeline.
That's true.
The TVA has always been a different weird thing because it's supposed to not have any time, but then we've been finding out that it does have time, so it's outside of that normal thing. So maybe there's something different going on with it.
Yeah.
Those were the world rules.
There's absolutely a lot of multiverse mumbo jumbo that doesn't always stay super consistent, in the way that you expect it to. Like just like again, Back to the Future, where you're like that's not how that should work because it should create an alternate timeline, or how does that work if it doesn't create an alternate timeline?
Yeah, but Back to the Future is internally consistent. Like I don't care if that's not how it would work in real life because time travel doesn't exist in real life. What I care about is that you follow the rules that you establish. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing, though. So they essentially go back. So it's like they go to this guy that hasn't actually invented or like hasn't written any of that literature or anything, right? Because he's on an alternate alternate timeline.
Uh-huh.
So it makes sense that he could be assuming these, but he doesn't really know how it works, right?
That's definitely how I've always interpreted how they explained things. That they're saying, well, it shouldn't work like that because it should work like this, and then for the most part, they've said, well, it turns out maybe it's a little bit more, a little different than that. I don't know.
Yeah, and the thing is,
this could be.
You guys jump through hoops to justify bad writing, but go on.
I haven't seen anything, so I have no.
It's multiverse writing. You've got to jump through.
All of these rules that have been previously established about time travel might have been since He Who Remains was in charge, and now that he's dead and everything's timey-wimey, there could be an entirely new set of rules. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm saying that, but I haven't seen anything. So
So the other thing too, though, and this, so this is the thing, though, is like it sets up this episode thinking that that's kind of how it's going to go, and you're like, okay, so they're going to get all these people together, and then maybe they'll be able to, teleport.
Just
back
a point of clarification, actually, a quick point of clarification is Loki's time slipping, and he says you need to figure out how to control it. It's like I can't. So he's like, well, what we'll do is we'll get everyone together, and there might be a way for us to, now that I've used some bootstrap paradox issues of like giving him the information that he apparently writes to help him figure out how to do it. Anyway, allows him to say he's going to say, oh well, maybe we'll be able to use that to get coordinates to everybody's aura together to get coordinates to use the temp pad time travel thing to get back to the right time. And instead of that is what I think you're driving at. They're setting us up for that's all going to work out, and instead of that, it basically puts it to the point where Loki then has. It clicks into the ability to actually time slip back to that time instead of using the temp pad one. So
but
I think I just had an aneurysm listening to you try to explain the plot of the show, man.
Maybe you just watch the show.
Why would I? Why?
No, but the thing that I was trying to say though is that they keep. I think they've been really good at like keeping you guessing to actually what's going to happen, right? Because we this whole episode, I was like, okay, this is what's going to happen, and then right at the end, everybody dies again, and I'm like, shoot, like everybody gets unraveled and turns into spaghetti, and I'm like, what? Well, what are they going to do now? Because literally, they just lost their last hope, and then that's when it turns out Loki figures out how to do the time slipping, and he's able to get back to where he needs to go.
Yeah.
But like the whole time, you're like, shoot, like. This is what I think is going to happen, and then they keep changing, like they keep twisting it, and they've done a pretty good job at saying, "Oh yeah, that's not what's actually going to happen."
A way that I think this kind of works for me, and maybe putting my 2 cents in on that, I'd say my idea because I completely agree with you. Yeah, it's true. I actually had spaghetti for dinner. But what I like about it is, I think that it does a good enough job of setting you up for this is where we're going with it. And for me, it keeps me involved enough to buy in with that line of thinking, not going like, okay, they're setting me up and they're gonna yank the rug out from underneath me and not do that. They're setting up in a way where it feels like that is really what they're gonna go for. There's conflict. I think it's well written enough to feel like you're along on the ride with them. You're not, at least for me, I'm not sitting there going, they're totally gonna mess with us on this. They're making it seem like they're going this direction and they're gonna zag. And so when they do zag, you're like, oh, okay. That was a cool little zag. I think that it's written well enough that it's doing that. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Again, written well enough for a wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey multiverse mumbo-jumbo that doesn't always really track consistently internally. But, yeah.
Yeah. And are we going to answer any, like, scientific questions in real life? Like, things like Interstellar? Maybe not. But it's like, hey... it's been interesting enough that you become invested in the story and where the narrative might go, and then they change it up, and you're like, oh, okay, well, let's see how this works out instead.
And I'm in for the ride, so
it hasn't been bad. I've been enjoying it.
Yep. So we'll see where they go with this because I believe the finale is this next week, right?
I don't know. I haven't been following it that closely.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the finale is this next week, so it'll be interesting what they all decide, how much they decide to wrap up with it. So
I hope so.
Yes, it is this week, and this weekend is the last weekend that I have Disney Plus.
Oh,
episode 6. Oh, sorry.
Have you guys actually been watching other stuff on Disney Plus then?
My kids have been watching the heck out of Bluey.
Yeah, I was going to say
yeah.
you're going to have an interesting time once your kids suddenly like you don't care about losing access to Disney Plus maybe, but your kids are going to have a tough time losing access to Bluey and
we
Yeah, good
stopped
luck with that.
buying Disney DVDs because we had Disney Plus, and now I'm like, oh crap, I need to go buy some classic Disney movies that I don't have access to anymore.
The other problem though is that there's a lot of things like Bluey. Like, are you going to get Bluey on DVD? Where are they going to have Bluey on DVD?
It's already on the Amazon cart.
Yeah, okay, they do have it, but a lot of these shows they're not putting them on DVD. Like I think they did finally put Mandalorian on there, and I actually think it's smart for them to still put it on DVD because even if physical media is dying, like it's becoming a dying thing, there will always
it'll never be dead. It'll never. Be dead.
It'll be like records, like vinyl. Like yes, it is not a big industry like it was when that was the way to listen to music.
Well, but those are coming back too.
People who want to be able to hold on to it because otherwise, like you're right. Like there's a bunch of shows. To be fair, most of them we don't care about having them be completely gone now. But like things like Willow, things like The World According to Jeff Goldblum, like things that were on Disney Plus that were just made for Disney Plus, because of the realities of the cost for them for keeping it on the streaming service, doesn't make sense for them. They remove it, and now no one can ever watch it ever again. And it sucks that things that people put a lot of time and energy and effort into. I won't actually include Willow into that, but at the very least, something like The World According to Jeff Goldblum can't be seen anywhere. You know?
Yeah.
Mark Clark, you mentioned the Apple Dumpling Gang.
Oh, yes.
Fantastic show. And that's another reason why I am quitting Disney Plus is because I have a list of several classic Disney films. One of them is Now You See Him, Now You Don't, which is still not on Disney Plus. And
you emailed them like the first week that it came out.
Yeah. No, I emailed them before Disney Plus came out saying, hey, look, you released the list of all these things you're supposed to be on there. This is missing. And it's technically part of a trilogy. This first and the third
but the second
one in that trilogy are on there, but that one isn't on there. I think Apple Dumpling Gang is, but
it's the human computer. Now You See Me, Now You Don't, and The World's Strongest Man.
Yep.
The third movie is horrible. It's so bad.
It's not the human computer. It's the computer that wore tennis shoes, isn't it?
The computer wore tennis shoes.
That one's all right. That one's
fun. That one's fun. Now You See Me is killer. So
now you
good.
See Him, Now You Don't.
And then
fantastic. It's
the third one feels like it feels like it's like drinking LaCroix, right? It
has the essence of something good, but it's just not.
No, it has the essence of the trilogy. Sure, all the characters are here, but it is flavorless.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good analogy. I like that.
Speaking of records, we're close. I'm not the bottleneck anymore, and I can't pressure my friend who has a real job to pull all-nighters, but we're getting really, really close. I don't think it's going to be ready for Dragonsteel, though, unfortunately. I was hoping to sell copies. It's sounding really good. My music is it's going to be out. It's going to be there. It's going to be out there. I'm going to get some physical copies too. Speaking of physical media, I'll buy a couple hundred printouts and see about people want physical copies. I've worked really hard on the artwork, and so has Jacob Ironside. He's helped me with some artwork, and it's exciting. It's exciting. Loki or something like that. Oh, is anyone going to see the Marvels? It opens this week on the 10th.
I'm planning on it. Honestly, I've been weirdly swamped in a bajillion other things. Like I haven't been able to catch up on One Piece or Invincible or anything else like that. So I obviously have not been able to keep up on things, but I'm planning on it. I want to. I'm excited for it. I still like it. I still like Marvel, but.
Hey, real quick. Now You See Him, Now You Don't. It might be on Apple TV.
Weird.
That's weird.
I remembered the point that I was going to make. Because I've been mooching off of David's Disney Plus for my kids, right? The only reason, honestly, when they first announced it, I was excited because finally, I can show my kids all of the classic Disney movies, but all the new stuff they're coming out with, it's just gross.
Yeah.
The only reason to have it is for classic movies and shows like Gargoyles.
I never finished watching that with Jacob. No,
it's so good. But what are you going to do, David? Max, not HBO Max anymore. Sorry, Max has got all of the Looney Tunes classics, and Elliot,
he does have access to Max from somewhere.
My 8-year-old has been watching Tom and Jerry.
Oh yeah,
and I have never heard him laugh that loud. Even watching like Bluey or like any of his favorite TV shows.
Bluey's funny, but it's a quiet, calm show.
Tom and Jerry breaks him. He thinks it is the funniest thing. And it's good. It's a good show, man.
It's hard.
All of them were when we went away from those sorts of shows, man, it was the saddest day.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch the new Looney Tunes stuff that came out on Hulu?
I tried to watch some of the like Pinky and the Brain stuff. It wasn't as good.
No, that's a bummer.
I didn't even know.
I have to ask my brother what he was thinking about it because I remember he watched a bunch of it and I thought he liked it okay. But
well, I mean, okay, it wasn't bad. I guess maybe I'm just in a different phase, but like
that could be, and that's fine too if it's not as good as long as it's at least okay. That's at least something. But I was just curious what you were thinking of it.
It wasn't bad. It did remind me very much of the days when I watched it as a kid. But I think part of it too was that I just haven't had a lot of time, and so sitting down to watch.
Are you gonna spend your adult hours watching a kids' TV show?
Yeah,
right. That's going to be the one to watch if you're going to do something like that.
If you have kids, when you have kids, then you're like, okay, now I can sit down and watch this TV show that I clearly don't have time for in my life anymore.
Right.
But
I'd make that argument for me. I'd make that argument for Bluey because I've seen a little bit of Bluey with David's kids, and it's like that actually is a fantastic show.
It's a fantastic show.
It's not one that I will spend my adult time on, but something like Looney Tunes, I'm like. Yeah, even as I'm an adult, I would spend time on that one if I had the time for it in a general sense. But
and you know what, Bluey continues to be the #1 watch show on Disney Plus, and Disney is furious about it because they didn't make it.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't just gone and bought whatever company makes it.
Please no.
Please. I would be surprised if they haven't tried. But
that would be the end of.
That would definitely ruin it for me.
That would be the end of the show for sure.
I mean, it certainly would. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Now You See Him, Now You Don't is on Apple TV. I can buy it on Amazon.
Yeah, you can buy it on Amazon. It looks like you actually still have to pay for it on Apple TV, maybe from what I was seeing, but I don't know for sure. So it's weird.
I don't know how Apple TV works. It's
honestly, all things considered, the service to have is going to be Amazon Prime. Because first of all, you've got your Prime delivery stuff, but then also like all the movies you want to watch are actually on Amazon Prime. It's whether or not you get it included.
Right.
Pay for it, whatever. Like
it is nice to have the combination of there's stuff that I can stream, and if I want to, I can purchase from the same app. And I just wish if their app was better, they would be the only streaming service. But their app is horrible. What's nuts is if you go to Amazon.com, depending on the day, it can take like 6 clicks to get into Prime Video. Sometimes it's there at the top and you can just click on it, and sometimes it's not. It is really hard to get to Prime Video unless you type it in directly. It's insane. I have no idea what Amazon's doing. They're so stupid.
Yeah. Yep. The problem is it's not their focus, right? And that's why they're succeeding more than these other ones is they can subsidize the losses when they make a crappy Wheel of Prime stuff, with all their other stuff. They're making tons of money with all of their deliveries. So
that's
true.
Yeah.
But that's the main thing is and the other thing I was going to point out is it's more like Netflix in that things that are on there for free with your subscription kind of rotate through. So whereas like Disney Plus, it only has Disney stuff on there, so it'll have it or it won't. Basically, it's not going to be like, oh hey, the closest they're going to have.
And even a lot of the Disney stuff, like Willow, they just delete.
That's true. But again, who's crying over that? Maybe the people involved with the film, but that's about it.
I've seen 2 people on Twitter upset about it.
Yeah, I'm more upset at the concept than the loss of the actual show.
Yeah, and I like for real. Yeah, the concept totally. I like it. Like that's brutal.
Mm-hmm. And again,
especially a new
involved
show.
with the show, like that sucks for them that their stuff isn't out there and they can't show it off to their friends or whoever else that they might be proud of that they can send it to. Again, maybe there's a good thing to that, but I don't know. Again, the closest thing you're going to get to that is Disney Plus has got the Spider-Man movies on there now, and I don't know what kind of licensing they have with Sony to keep it on there versus it going to be coming and going like a Netflix thing. But like that's one of the nice things with Netflix is like, you know, it's not on there now, but sometimes something will come around, you know.
I've only watched Spider-Man Far From Home one time, and it was in theaters because I've never found it streaming ever.
Yeah, it wasn't available unless you wanted to buy it on Amazon. It wasn't available on any free streaming apps. Well, I mean,
that's the other thing.
You still subscribe, but yeah.
I think Alan's seeing what I just saw.
How much is a butt ton on a scale of Liza to Whoopi? You got to start. You got to start with the lower end, though, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'd say Fat Albert amount.
There we go. Yeah, the oh, never mind. I forgot what I was going to say. Ignore me. We're good.
Yeah.
Hey, well, this sounds like a good time to transition, and I haven't played the Stinger in so long, so it's time for some Screen Rants Bad Takes, everybody.
Screen Rants Bad Takes.
This one's a little bit old. Last month, like a month. It's a month old because I
sent that to you a long time ago.
Well, also, David, you keep sending me stuff and then not showing up to stream.
You can cover it when I'm not there.
Do most of the time, but I'm like, this one's so good. Like, do you not want to talk about all these articles you keep sending me?
Well, see, now the problem is it's been a month old and I don't remember what the article says.
Okay, well, it's all in the it's really all in the headline.
It's all in the title.
The superhero dream is essentially fascism, says Alan Moore, who eviscerates superheroes and fixes pop culture in an in-depth interview. Well, I mean, yeah, Alan Moore's superheroes, but not the genre as a whole. Like, you don't get to write a crappy book and then say, "Oh, books are crappy." You know, like, you realize what you've done here.
You might as well.
That's a very good point, bro. Yeah, I think I remember in this article he talked specifically about Superman and saying that originally, you know, Superman was sticking up for the little guy and he was, you know, helping people on their workers' strikes and stuff. And then he started fighting supervillains, and it was just not the same, and it was not cool because it was this big corporate thing of this big giant alien that was fighting supernatural stuff, and people couldn't relate anymore.
Right. Nothing says fascism like truth, justice, and the American way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, and like this is one of those things when Blue Beetle was coming out, and there was those clips of George Lopez's character saying like Batman's a fascist. Like, I can understand, especially talking about Batman, how like his fight against criminals and things like that seems a little militant and fascist in certain ways. And I can see how sometimes that has been played with certain superheroes, but like it's more like that's just such a odd generalization that like takes an aspect of something that is actually trying to do good and draws a parallel with how something's doing bad. Like, yeah, no,
right. But I get if hypothetical Lizard are the only superheroes you have available. Like, yeah, I can understand thinking that they're fascist.
Yeah,
what is this? Oh man, he used to.
The biggest problem for me is this is what Screen Rant does, is they're saying this such and such fixes this, and I'm like, no, stop. You're making it sound like this is a bigger problem than it is, and maybe there's some discussion to be had around some of the aspects and perspectives on these, but like you're not fixing anything by saying
he also hasn't done anything in years. Well, Alan Moore fell off so hard.
I think that's what this is, though, is he's promoting his new comic or something that he wrote or co-wrote or something.
Well, it's a really dumb way of doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the sadly effective thing is like say something that will get people talking about you on Twitter, and then you're gonna like.
I'm not gonna buy his book
because it's the people have been pointing it out with Martin Scorsese and his trashing on different things, this, that, and the other, and it's like, oh, conveniently timed with when Killers of the Flower Moon's coming out, so it's like,
yep. But people are gonna go see a Scorsese movie no matter what he says. It's Martin Scorsese.
You're probably right, but it's a weird thing where you.
But Alan Moore has literally pissed off his entire audience. The only people who read his comic books. How is this going to sell your comic books? Yeah. This is going to make people not want to buy your comic.
You do see a pattern of somebody is putting something out, so they put out a hot take, a controversial take, and therefore suddenly they're in the pop cultural zeitgeist again, and so people are like, I'm just hearing about Alan Moore.
Yeah. It is a pattern. I don't think that's why Scorsese said what he said. I think he's just being honest. Because he always has been. He's always saying stuff like that. I understand. I understand what you're saying. I don't think it applies to Scorsese. I think it definitely applies to like Brie Larson and Alan Moore, right?
Yeah,
but
I think that too. It's maybe not quite as overtly like intentional, like as overtly intentional as that. But I think that there is definitely an aspect of that plays in, and because I mean, some of it's also like they're on a promotional circuit for it, so people are interviewing and talking to them, and so in that interview, in that discussion, there things are going to come out that some would latch onto. So it's not like they're saying, let's call a press day and bring this attention to it. It's more like, hey, this is already happening. Let's maybe, I don't know.
Right. Hey, gents, it's the Nerdporeal life form.
Hey.
A wild life form appears. Okay. Well, bad ticks.
It's super effective.
This is... You can't see the picture for some reason, but the Rings of Power Sauron reveal fixed a major Lord of the Rings movie problem because Sauron wasn't as effective a villain as he could have been in the Lord of the Rings movies. But the Rings of Power Halbrand is a more effective villain.
By not being a villain.
I think they're probably. I do a little bit. Their whole thing is that it's because you've got your.
It gives him more depth.
Yep, more depth.
That's it. Yeah. That's their more depth. Yeah. Okay. Look, you can build a stupid pool and fill it with stupidity, and say, "Look, it's deep."
Yep.
That doesn't like you can fill it with swamp water and say, "Hey, look, it's more depth than that kiddie pool that's filled with the fountain of youth."
No. So I was gonna say, that cesspit hole that you've dug and filled with swamp water is somehow better than this like shallow pond and a nice meadow and beautiful like trees around
with the lady of the lake holding aloft Excalibur, The fountain of youth and the oh my gosh, sure, he's a deeper character and he's stupider. It's not good.
Yep.
Like they're trying to give him like motivations that don't really work. So it's like, yes, there's more motivation thoughts in there, but it doesn't really make sense.
Do you want to read that? You want to read this one for me? I'm too upset.
Nobody wants to read that out loud. Nobody wants that on the internet.
It is false. False, I say.
I'm actually going to read a Screenwrite article because I don't know how on earth they're justifying this. Tolkien canon describes how Sauron, like Gandalf, Saruman, and Radagast, was a Maya.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, well, he was.
Okay. And we've got your shapeshifter concept. Took on beautiful forms. I don't, anyway.
Continue.
He took on beautiful forms. Elves and men of Middle-earth were most likely to trust. Yeah, sure. The most discussed version of Sauron, Anatar, bringer of gifts, was the one who tricked the elves into making the Rings of Power. Yeah.
This point, this paragraph,
how the run differs from this one. This is not.
There's more true to it. See how they changed this one thing that was the most discussed part about it, and they changed that. It's more true to it.
Rings of Power didn't do any of this crap. It was closer to his origin story. Yeah, because Lord of the Rings is in a different time period, you moron. It's not about Anatar. It's about Sauron. And spoiler alert, Rings of Power isn't about Anatar either, because they weren't legally allowed to use that name. That's why they created Halbrand, you moron.
Why would they try to tell that story when they can't use Anatar? Like, why try to tell the story of Anatar, convincing them to when they can't have Anatar? What?
Okay, no. Based on canon, Halbrand wasn't lying in the Rings of Power when he told Galadriel he wanted to fix the damage done by Morgoth. That is not true. That is not based on canon. That is the opposite of canon.
So it's based on Tolkien notes, maybe, which is not necessarily canon.
No. But this isn't true. This is not true. According to Tolkien's notes, Sauron turned away from Morgoth's mission before the Dark Lord was defeated and planned to reunite the beings of Middle-earth and rule over a beautiful... No, this is not true.
He tried
when
to stab Morgoth in the back.
Yes, when Sauron saw that Morgoth was losing, he abandons him and goes and hides so that he doesn't get killed too. And it says... Okay, this is the reason why people say this is an argument is because in the quote is Sauron repented or was repentant from or something like that from his deeds, but you don't understand the etymology of the word. It means like he regretted getting caught, not that he thought that what he did was wrong. He didn't repent and become a good person. He was sorrowful that it failed.
Well, and I also wondered too, because this line here, how he planned to reunite the beings of Middle-earth and rule over a beautiful and healed new world. How many villains do we hear of, like a Thanos even, who is sitting there and saying, "Oh, all I want is peace. Mm-hmm. I am going to get everything under my control."
But also, that's not true.
Be happy or else.
But it's also not true. That was never. That's never mentioned anywhere in Tolkien's writings. But that's something that they made up.
Even if that was true, even if this line aspect here is true, more than likely what he was doing was saying like, "Oh, I want to unite everybody and force everybody to be a part of this beautiful and healed new world that I will be the king of and rule over and dominate because I want to dominate." That's what he wants. He wants to dominate. You know, So him saying he wants to rule over a beautiful and healed new world, even if he said that, which apparently he didn't, but even if he said that, that's not necessarily him being a good guy who wanted to fix he just said, "Oh, he was failing. I should do it myself, and I want to make it good because he did it bad, but you're still trying to dominate in a way that's not good." I don't know. It sounds like that's a bad take.
This is disgusting.
Oof.
Yep. It's Screen Rant.
True.
But it's just not true.
It's Screen Rant.
I feel like there's a libel case here. Like it's just lies. Anyway, you sent me a couple other ones, David. Tor.com. The secret
subtle changes.
The secret of the Suldam. Subtle changes to the way the One Power works in the Wheel of Time TV series.
Yeah,
it's funny that they use the word subtle here.
Right.
Because the changes were not subtle.
Not at all. And this article, I don't know if you read it, it's freaking hilarious. He goes back and forth about how, they changed this in the adaptation, and I didn't like this part, but it was so strong because of this emotional moment between Egwene and what's her bucket. And then they changed this other thing, and I didn't really like that, but it was also so powerful. And I'm like,
but because Egwene slays in this scene,
exactly.
She's so strong. Oh, and she's so powerful. And even though it makes absolutely no sense that she picks up the Suldam and puts it on her, puts it on what's her face, on Rena. It absolutely makes no sense, and there's no way that it could possibly work. And but she slays. Even though, spoiler alert, I'll sum it up for you. The one power does not work in the Wheel of Time TV series. It's constantly contradicting itself. They tell you rules, and then they don't follow them because they're idiots.
Yep. This next article is very similar.
Very similar. Again, in the same week from Tor.com.
It's the same author as well. What do you know?
Why the use of the Oath Rod matters in the Wheel of Time TV series. Again, spoiler alert, it doesn't, because the characters are constantly breaking the oaths that they made on the Oath Rod in the Wheel of Time TV series. Shut up, Silas K. Barrett. You are like paid opposition. This is literal propaganda. You honestly cannot sit there and tell me that Suan Sanche, throughout the course of season 2, kept the oaths that she swore on the Oath Rod.
But it was such an emotional moment
she
when
uses
Swan
the one
told her to close
power.
the gate.
Maybe
she uses the one power
because she made the oaths and then
that's the one time. The one time they were I mean, even then it wasn't even consistent, but the one time they showed the Oath Rod actually working and holding someone to their oaths was with their fake made-up oath that is something that the villain does in book 10. But they had Swan Sanche do it.
Yeah.
And even then, they show Moraine like resisting. That's not how the Oath Rod works. If you swear an oath, you like the oath to that they can't lie. They're literally incapable of lying. Like you'll see them try to speak and just literally get cut off.
Very liar sort of situation.
Yes, but Swan Sanche uses the one power as a weapon against Rand, against Lan, against Moraine, even against Lanfear before Lanfear does anything, right?
It's a whole bunch of Shan Chan.
The rule, look, and it's addressed in the books. The wording is, Jared, what's the wording? Pop quiz.
What's
the wording about the Oath Rod? An Aes Sedai may not use the one power as a weapon, except as a
in defense of herself or something like that.
Yes, except as a last
resort
effort, as a last resort in defense of herself, or in defense of her life, the life of her warder, or the life of another Aes Sedai.
Yeah,
and it's addressed in the books. The Aes Sedai can't like go to war, and when they're in situations, they have to straight up walk into the front lines until someone throws a spear at them before they can channel. Like, they have to feel like their life is in danger. And so they work around it in the books by putting themselves in danger, and then they can start channeling, right, and fighting these armies. Yeah. Swan Sanche just, in episode like 5 or 4, just attacks Rand and then shields him.
Yeah.
And then she attacks
to show how weak he is.
And Rand and Moraine. She attacks them. And then
Nynaeve. That was Leandrin.
No. Okay. Yeah. Moraine murders an entire fleet of Shan-Chan. And before she does it, Lan interrupts her to say, hey, how do you know that what you're doing is okay? You don't know what those people, like, she's making a guess. She says, I think that the people on there are shielding Rand. She's miles away. And he says, how do you know that's true? How do you know that the people on those ships are bad? how do you know what they're doing? And how do you know that it's not filled with innocent people? And she says, I don't care. I'd be willing to murder 100 innocent people if it would save Rand's life. And then that's a quote from the show.
She said if there was a chance,
if there was a chance to save Rand's life. And then she proceeds to murder everyone on those ships, completely, not even breaking, shattering the oaths that she swore on the oath rod.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they point it out. They have Land say, hey, isn't this breaking the oaths? I don't care. And apparently you can just break the oaths.
Yep.
like even the characters and the female characters in the books, the young ones, okay, Nynaeve, Egwene, and Elaine. It's a huge plot point in the books. They don't become full sisters until like much, much later. And for like 7 books, they have to pretend to be Aes Sedai.
Yep.
And even though they have a conversation, they're like, even though we have not sworn on the oath rod, we should try our darndest to act as if we have.
Yeah. And
so that we're ready for when we do, and so that we don't lose our cover. And so, like, even though they haven't, they keep the oaths. And then these characters who have, just break them.
Yeah. They get into some trouble, and it's great because they use the power and then, as a weapon, and people are like, wait a minute, we were told they're not, Aes Sedai are not supposed to do that. And they lied, and they said that they were full Aes Sedai and turned a whole bunch of people against the White Tower.
Yeah, the only reason you can make any sense is if it's like this 7 levels of separation, that Rand's death would mean the end of the world. But I'm sorry, that doesn't work. Even that is Rand her warder or another Aes Sedai? No, he's not.
Yep,
it doesn't work.
And she was miles away and just assumed that was happening.
And the book addresses that.
Like correctly assumed she was right that was happening, but there's no possible way that she could have.
They try that in the books. There's even a point where someone says, like, "Hey, can't you channel? Because we're clearly in danger." Like logically, if you don't channel, we are going to die. And they still can't do it. They have to physically be in danger. Like, it's addressed in the books.
Yeah.
They're like, no, I can't do it yet. I need to be in danger first before I can channel.
Yeah.
Is there anything worth reading in here?
No, it's the same thing. He goes back and forth. He talks about how emotional it was in the previous episode with the whole on your knees thing and how it parallels this and it brought it up, and it was just so powerful. Such an emotional moment when she forced her to closed the gate and then walked away on her.
Right. That's the only time they showed the oath rod working, and it wasn't even working correctly.
Yeah.
The other example is I used to be a sitter for the Green Aja, and now I'm a Damani. Okay. They show her using the one power to just murder people, because she's being controlled by the Suldam, by the Idam, by who the Suldam is using the Idam for the Damani. It gets complicated, guys. The Suldam controls the Idam. The knee bone's connected to the Idam. The Suldam's connected to your mom. I'm guessing. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The only logical explanation is that Swan Sanche is Black Aja. And so is Moraine. And so is Mygun? I think that's her name. Yeah, more likely they forgot how it worked because they're idiots.
Yep.
They have no idea what they're doing. And there's no internal consistency. That's the can we say the secret phrase, everybody? The key, internal consistency. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if your time travel is silly as long as it's consistent.
It's
so Mygun was a sitter for the Green Aja, and she got turned into a Damane, and the Shan-Chan are using her as a weapon to kill a bunch of innocent people. And guess what? Wouldn't you know it? It's addressed in the books, everybody. Someone straight up, and in a Q&A, someone asked him, hey, what happens to sisters from the White Tower who are captured and turned into Damane? Are they able to use the one power's weapon? And he says, no. Yes, he says the Shan-Chan, they're still bound by the oaths, and the Shan-Chan they find them useless, so they send all Aes Sedai that they capture back to the homeland and use them for like farming and stuff.
I didn't know that.
But they don't care about Robert Jordan. It's just blasphemy. It's so sick. I hate these people. Anything else to say before I move on?
Nope. Good riddance.
Okay. Doctor Who boldly overturns its outdated classic era show policy.
Is that the new Doctor Who?
Yep.
No, let's one of the old ones.
Not yet. Yeah, this is an old one come back for a special or something.
Right.
I see.
Who wants to guess? What's the show policy that we're just getting rid of?
And you want to guess?
I'll give you $100. I'll give you $100 if you guess.
I've read the article, so I won't say.
Is it?
You could have just made $100, David. What?
Is it? Does it have to do with him? He can't rejuvenate, or he can't.
Nope. Got any guesses, Bearded?
My first guess would be that it has to do with the gendered aspect of Doctor Who.
No, they already did that for 3 seasons. They already did that for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
David, what is it?
His abstinence.
Doctor Who can have sex now, everybody.
What?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I wish this was a joke. But everyone pointing to Russell T Davies as coming back as saving Doctor Who. Yeah, good luck. It's
Yep.
Where
No hugging rule.
there was a no hugging rule. Where is it? They use the word hanky panky.
Yeah.
Where is it? Did they change it?
No,
Yeah.
it's right there.
No hanky
No
panky.
hanky-panky mandate.
Doctor Who's gonna bone everybody.
So I guess maybe at least are they saying right now that the only thing that they're overturning is that he can give hugs, or
Nope. It's all gone.
it's just all gone? Okay.
They can make him do whatever the heck they want him. And that was a point of the character, right? He was an alien that lives thousands of years, right? And he didn't want to have relationships with human people because they would. Yes, no, 100%.
He's also been asked directly if he would retcon the Timeless Child and Timeless Children, and he says no. That's canon. It's technically a soft reboot.
They're doing
and they're not rebooting the one thing that should be rebooted.
Yeah.
What is the time? I guess I don't know enough about what the time was.
It's
completely
stupid.
Destroys all of Doctor Who mythology, and it could have been done brilliantly.
It's what they did in the last season.
With a master instead, but they. Anyways, I don't want to. Oh, yeah.
Basically, they retconned everything in the last season and turned the Doctor into a black girl, a little black girl.
Before all of the other
right. So the Doctor was a little black kid who was like he didn't have any privilege, and so she turned into the Doctor or something. It's really stupid.
No, basically the Doctor Who they're supposed to be. The Doctor is a Time Lord. Is there?
Yeah,
they're
not anymore.
Gallifreyan, but she's not. She was some other species from another dimension that came.
The Timeless Children,
and the Time Lords took advantage of her and wiped her memory and used her regeneration abilities and experimented on it and made themselves be able to regenerate. And so, no, the Doctor is not a Time Lord. She's some alien from some other dimension that came and gave the Time Lords their ability. And
that's too bad.
Yeah, it was very, very stupid, and everybody hates it. And you know what? It could have worked if it was the Master, because that makes sense. Because the Master has come back so many freaking times. It would have been so much more emotional, and I don't know, but yeah, they completely destroyed it and didn't think about the repercussions.
Oh no, I think they didn't, David. They didn't care about the.
They didn't care about
because that's not. It's not important to them.
Yep.
Repercussions don't matter.
Not if you're getting ESG points.
Yeah.
And then David, you sent me 2 of these. I don't know which one you wanted to read first.
Yeah. So this one. Oh gosh.
I assume they're connected, right?
Yeah. That one is hilarious.
Despite what you think, the new Daredevil show shouldn't try to be like the show that everyone loved.
Yeah. It's basically saying it should be more like the Marvel MCU and the tie into the Echo and
the new Daredevil was part of the MCU.
I know.
Or the old Daredevil show was.
Yeah.
Well, sort of.
It was.
They played around with it, but it was never acknowledged from the main MCU. And
it was acknowledged that the show was in the MCU, but the MCU never acknowledged
it was set up so that if they ever wanted to include it in the main
that
continuity, they could.
is absolutely correct. Yes, it was set up so that it could easily be a part of the MCU, but
yeah. So I don't remember what this particular article says, but basically,
I don't really care what those articles say.
It's ridiculous because it says you shouldn't copy and build upon what the previous successful.
The
Daredevil
only
show.
potential credit I could try to give this is the idea that don't just try to be something else, be yourself and be something of your own good, except that they're probably not going to be their own good. They're probably going to be their own bad. But I can understand saying don't worry so much about trying to copy what the other thing was. Be your own thing.
Did you see their announcement? They're doing a non-canon stuff too now. The MCU.
Oh, are they?
Really?
Yeah, they're doing their Elseworlds equivalent.
Oh,
they're going to be making stuff that's not part of the MCU but still Marvel.
Hey, more power to them. Sure, why not?
The first show is going to be Echo.
Oh, really?
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So, anyways,
I forget what it's called. I'll look it up.
This next article, though, is freaking hilarious. So, 10 Marvel comics that Daredevil Born Again should take inspiration from. You want to guess? For those of you who don't know, Born Again was a series.
It was a comics run.
It was a comics segment, a story line from the original Daredevil comic books.
Sorry, Marvel Spotlight is what it's called. But yeah, go on.
Okay. So anyone want to take a guess at what Daredevil storyline is not on this list?
Is it Daredevil Born Again?
It's Daredevil Born Again! Yeah, it's freaking hilarious. Now, granted, the third season of Daredevil on Netflix
kind of adapted some of it.
Kind of adapted it. So that's
was it actually adapting Born Again, or did it look like it was setting up to adapt a Born Again next for their season 4?
Incorporated elements of the Born Again storyline.
Because that was my understanding. That's why for the longest time I was set on the idea that even with this Born Again concept, it basically can be a continuation of the Netflix season until they've now pretty much confirmed. They've really doubled down on confirming that it's not, because they were setting up for Born Again. Was my understanding.
Yeah. Most of the stuff on this list though is modern Marvel crap for the reboots of the reboots of the reboots of Daredevil. Ooh. There's one suggestion on this list.
Let's have Daredevil not fight his main villain.
Yeah.
Give it to Elektra instead.
Yeah. No, currently the current Daredevil is Elektra. So there's two. Never mind. So A Touch of Typhoid was another classic good Daredevil story, but again, nothing to do with Born Again, right? And then anyways, they just keep going and going. I think their number one is actually a decent pick, or maybe it was the number two. Okay, talk about the Daredevil and Echo team, which I haven't read any of the Echo, but I like the idea as a concept.
Yeah,
it's blind man and a deaf woman.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
it makes sense. It makes sense.
A cool thematic pairing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so the last one there is Last Rites, which again,
that's a good one.
Not Born Again. But Last Rites is kind of a spiritual successor or follow-up to the Born Again series, and it's basically flips the script, and instead of the Kingpin undermining Daredevil and just making his life a miserable hell, it's Daredevil undermining his criminal empire, and he kind of does some of the same stuff and undermines his whole thing and exposes him and everything. So that's the only pick that's a decent pick, but it's hilarious that Born Again isn't on the list. Why would you make an adaptation of a thing and not draw from the inspiration that you're basing it on?
But there's par for the course at this point. David, do you want to read this comment real quick? Got a nice little
Which one will come out first, Snow White or a new episode of Snow White? That depends on what Snow White you're talking about. You're talking about Disney's Snow White or the new one?
Disney Snow White. Snow White and the Evil Queen, baby. We got Brett Cooper and Snow White. I'm all in. I'm all in the Daily Wire. Apparently, this has been news for like 4 months. The Daily Wire is making the Pendragon cycle. I had no. I found this out yesterday. I found this out yesterday, and I was looking at their logs. Have you seen the videos on set? It looks legit. It looks so good. I'm gonna pull it up. I'm freaking pulling it up.
It looks
they're
really
doing. They're doing like classic Arthurian legend crap.
Nice. That'll be fun. So the one thing that I'll tell you that I was thinking with David with response to that last article, because and I mean this is just commentary. It's not necessarily like you're right, wrong. Otherwise, it's like I will say a lot of the other things that they have taken titles from comic runs have been very loosely based. So saying that it should be based on Born Again, I mean it probably should if you're going to be taking the name, but it's okay if it's very loosely based or you get that concept. But I do completely agree with you still that it's like it's kind of ridiculous to say let's do it based on something completely different while we're taking just the name from this, especially if there's not any like thematic elements that are in common, like if there's something else that's Daredevil a fresh start or something like that they take and adapt and then they say, well, let's slap the Born Again name on it, but it kind of makes sense thematically that they sound similar, but
Daredevil Born Again is a very dark point in Matt Murdock's life. Like his whole world is thrown upside down. Karen Page gets addicted to opioids and heroin or something, and there's a lot of stuff there. Matt Murdock is out on the street. His identity is known to Kingpin, and he's homeless. It's dark.
Yeah, and again, that's a fair point.
But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be calling it Born Again, it should be at least somewhat based on the Born Again series from Daredevil.
Yeah, and again, it's
Brett Cooper's in this one too, guys.
Why are we taking greater inspiration from it, like a larger chunk of inspiration from a different storyline?
Right.
We can adapt, change it to be whatever we want for our own thing, but of the storylines that we should take inspiration from, the one that should take the highest inspiration should be the one that it's named after. If you're going to take any inspiration from anything.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So back to Pendragon cycle.
Yeah.
No. Great conversation, guys. They for the last 5 weeks they've released a new production diary every week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like to document their filming. Look at these sets. Like this looks better than Rings of Power.
Yeah.
This looks better than the Wheel of Time.
Practical stuff. And get this, they're actually having lessons on horseback riding and sword fighting for their actors and actresses.
I'm trying to get a shot of look at that dress.
That is a very cool dress, and I mean, there's other reasons why that's a gorgeous shot, but
just
I've noticed you stopped on this actress a couple of times.
Exclusively at that dress. No, but it looks like it's been worn. It looks like a real dress, not like Galadriel's armor.
Yeah.
Right. It was just.
Well, I don't know. It also does look like a very nice, fancy thing.
Well, yeah, because she's a nice and fancy person.
A worn thing. Is that not the same person?
Well, these are the fancy people. Oh, yeah, that's the same.
See, they're the fancy people, so they can have.
This is also a nice dress.
Yes, it's also a very nice dress.
Oh no, that might be a different person.
Okay,
I don't know. I don't know now.
You might have just done a racism.
I might have just done a racism against the whites. Oh no! Come on,
I don't know if it's the racism that was the problem going on.
But look at the size. Look at the size of this set.
Yeah,
this is unnecessarily large.
Again, that is an existing village.
I was going to say.
These aren't full houses. So look here, you can see like it's just the facade.
Yeah,
but like you're doing your filming here, right? You don't need. But this is insane. I know. I'm excited for it. But I'm saying
that's really cool that they're doing that much and they're using that
because they can use it. Like you're going to be able to walk, or you're going to be able to do like one shots where you walk around this entire city because they've made an entire city. And it's not like a modern production. A modern production is going to make this, is going to make the face of the church, and then the rest is going to be done in post. In the all this is going to be CGI in the background.
Yep.
Well,
this looks phenomenal.
That central courtyard one that they've got there, you can see the red roofing on the central area, which is probably the modern stuff that they're not going to show in the show. Or if there's any shot that might possibly see that in there, they'll CGI it out.
This roofing, obviously.
Then you see on the side of that building, though, they made a facade there to make it look.
But they've made facades that make this nice. So
there's
like they're definitely still going to put in a lot of CGI fillers and stuff like that. It's not that they're not going to use it, but they've put a lot of really good stuff in there they're gonna have so much good stuff to work with. Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah. I am so pumped. I'm so pumped for this.
I'm pretty excited about it. My only concern about it is, like you said, you saw that shot of Brett Cooper. I really hope they're not just all the actors and actresses are, within their own circle and they keep reusing all the same. I really hope they find good talent for this, But what I've seen so far, it looks pretty good.
No, man, I want to see Brett Cooper and Gina Carano in every single thing that they make. Like Gina Carano could be the Morgana, right?
Yeah.
But it would be funny.
Yeah, that would be an interesting one. I want to see her more combat involved, though. You know, if she's going to be doing anything, because I'm not picky about people's acting ability necessarily. I've generally heard she's not necessarily a strong actor, and I can't disagree with that. That being said,
she literally comes from an acting background.
But Gina Carano, but she's
Gina Carano.
She's getting better as an actress, and she's absolutely a great fighter, physical. Like she has a lot of good physicality for it,
I would say the same thing about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. His first couple movies that he made, they were.
She continues to grow. I'm saying she should continue to grow. She should be given parts to learn and grow and all that. But
that's a guy on fire.
Yeah,
that is
awesome.
That is what that is.
I'm trying to get the still without playing it and getting dinged. There you go. Look at that. This is good.
That's awesome.
Look at this. Like, this looks so much better than Rings of Power.
Those druids look amazing.
Look at that.
Yeah. Holy cow.
This is legitimate.
Yeah.
It's too legit to quit.
We got Jeremy Boring. I'm excited, man.
Me too.
It's gonna be good.
We just need this so badly. We need independent media. Oh, look, see, Brett Cooper's holding this beer, baby. I'm excited for this crap. I just like Arthurian Legends. Okay, I don't. Yeah. But the fact that it's being made by someone who's not going to shove woke down it, even if the quality isn't the best, I'm still going to enjoy it because I just like the story. I watched one of my favorite shows. There was I think it was a mini series on Hercules, but it was the actual legend, like him going crazy and murdering his children, and then having to do his 10 tasks to as penance. It's just the worst quality, but I love it because it's the actual story. It's good.
Yeah.
But this looks like it's going to be both good and accurate. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that'll be interesting. I'm excited. Do we have any news on what's going on? When, where, who, why, whatever?
I don't know. I think they're filming right now.
Yeah, they're filming now, and they're also making Snow White and the Evil Queen. Which
I did hear that.
May end up coming out before Disney's version because they just pushed it back a year.
Yeah.
So these videos that they're releasing this is the 4th week of production. Yeah. So they have four of these videos. This is week 4, which was released 2 days ago. So maybe offset by maybe even a month.
Yeah.
Depends on how fast they're pumping out this video, which is produced, right?
I don't know.
Or maybe this was filmed last year. Who knows when this was actually filmed?
They've been working on this for a year because I signed up for Daily Wire for their movies that they made because I wanted to see the Gina Carano movie.
Dude. Come on. Look at that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play a little. Look at this. Look. Oh man.
Yeah, there's a guy on fire there too.
Dude, this looks so freaking good. I'm sorry. I'm gonna simp for the Daily Wire for a little bit.
Yeah, it looks really good. I was a little bit disappointed.
I'm not a Daily Wire simp, right? Like yeah. I think Steven Crowder was in the right side in the whole like battle. But
but yeah, no, you can't argue with their stuff that they're doing. So I was a little bit disappointed because we signed up a year ago for Daily Wire to watch the Gina Carano stuff when it was coming out, and they haven't really made any more movies or documentaries since then. You know, I think they made one other one since then.
You just didn't like the movie really that they made.
And then they just released this, and their new streaming app is Bent Key Productions, and they already have a whole bunch of kids content on there. Nice. They have one called Chip Chilla that is basically a Bluey ripoff, and then there's another one, I forget what it's called, but it's basically like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Oh, so that's what your kids can watch now.
I know. So I'm like, I wasn't gonna resubscribe on there, but I'm like, now I'm not paying for Disney Plus, so I'll pay for Bent Key Productions and watch the Pendragon Cycle when that comes out.
And my wife was telling you, it sounds like it's something that you were involved in making, you know?
Right?
You guys and some family named Key or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still haven't watched The Terror on the Prairie.
It's good. It's good. Again, like all the other ones that they made so far, the finale especially, I don't like the way that any of their films have wrapped up. But that one is good.
I think Shut-In is their best movie. I really like Shut-In.
I think that one's probably the best one.
It's also the least flawed.
Yeah.
Like you can argue she should have like finished the guy off at the very end without walking away, but like I also understand she was concerned for her kids, and like it's a solid movie.
And also the whole deception at the end, like, okay, I'll do the drugs with you.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
It was kind of came out of nowhere, but
I liked it.
That's fine. Yeah, that one was good. Watch Terror on the Prairie though. That one's pretty good.
Yeah. What's your password again?
Same as all the other streaming services.
I don't think you ever sent me your password. Okay, I'll just log in. You want to just put that out there on a live stream real quick?
Yeah, my email is this, and my social security.
What's your mother's maiden name? Oh, right. No, I know that one. Sorry.
You know that one.
Yeah. It was fun.
Oh man, Invincible. Jared, it's just you and me.
Yep. All right. I think I'm out of here.
Let's hide these boys.
I think I'm actually going to take off though, so that I can maybe go watch it.
It's good.
I actually have a ton of things I need to be getting done around here. So,
yeah. I need to go watch that, and I still haven't watched the Adam Eve.
That's the other one. I actually think I'll probably watch that first, and then
go
into.
Did you get around to watching season 1?
I've watched season 1. Yeah, I saw that maybe 6 months after it came out. It wasn't right when it was coming out, but it was not too long afterwards. So it was good stuff. It was really some interesting storytelling. Some cool things they're playing around with. So we'll see what's going on here.
Yep. All right. It's been a pleasure.
Mm-hmm. See y'all.
Check out Self-Help Gaming, I guess.
Yep.
Someday I might have
new content will come soon.
Get your channel out, man.
Yeah. We did
I've
film
created the channel itself. I just haven't done anything to it.
Right.
Yeah.
What were you saying, David?
Well, I did film something I was hoping to get out by Halloween, but that didn't happen. So
it's like
do your Halloween episode on Christmas. Okay, but ready for some spooky, scary board games, everybody?
Yep. Yeah. So
right.
My favorite game to play for Christmas is Midnight Werewolf.
Yeah. All right.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Invincible. I really liked it. You're muted. There you go.
What? I was muted?
Yeah.
Who muted me? No, I'm just kidding.
Not me.
I liked it too. It definitely hits like the last season does. I mean, there were definitely some
I don't think it's as strong a start. Like episode 1, just the way it ends, right? For season 1.
Yeah,
He's killer. But the majority of the episodes, it's very bland, right? It starts off, hey, this is your typical superhero story, nothing to see here, and then ends with Omni-Man murdering everybody, and you're like, hot dang, that's not. We're in for something different.
Yeah,
obviously this didn't have the same impact, but I think it's impossible to do season 1, episode 1 again, right? Like that level of.
Yeah.
Oh dang! But then the finale of season 1 too is even better. Of the finale of season 1, is an even better impact. So I don't know,
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting, and yeah, I mean, it's a very valid point because I remember when I first watched season 1. That is kind of what sucks you in because you're like, oh, he's a superhero, but he literally just murdered all these other superheroes.
So good.
And so then you're like, shoot, this is how this season is starting. Where are they going to go with this season? And then you kind of go through the whole story and then end on the season finale where he's finding his son, right? So it is definitely kind of interesting that
what do you have then when all your friends and people that you love are dead? I still have you, Daddy.
I know, right? As he's like coughing up blood and stuff.
What do you have?
But so it is kind of, it's hard because Omni-Man took off, right? And I think what they were trying to do is they were trying to go with that shock factor of it turns out that he's the bad guy, Invincible's the bad guy. And that didn't come off as successful, I think, because then, like you saw an alternate universe.
Right. So we got to start there. So it's the whole episode starts off with it's a fake out.
Yeah.
Right. It's, this is right. And immediately you're thinking, okay, this is either a dream.
Yeah.
Or a flash forward, which would be horrible.
Yep.
Or turns out alternate universe. This is the universe where Invincible joins his father and becomes.
Well, it sounded like the guy that was doing the whole mind melding thing. He's like
something Levy.
He was like in a lot of the alternate universes. He joins his father, which is, I mean, that was interesting. I was like, okay, so this is a very unique one where
Angstrom Levy. I was close.
Angstrom, yeah.
Angstrom Levy.
Angstrom, yeah, that's right, Angstrom, yeah. So that's the thing. So it starts out like that, but then you're like, okay, like, yeah, he's good, and it shows him kind of going through, and he's just kind of helping. I mean, which is great. He's helping everybody he can, but the way that he's doing it, he's just kind of like, yeah, okay, I'm helping people now, and like he kind of seems lost.
This is after the fake out, right? You're talking about Invincible?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, okay, before we move on to that, though, so the fake out, obviously it's trying to serve the same purpose as the ending of episode 1, season 1, right? This is the shock factor, like, bang, let's get you right back into it.
Yeah.
It's not as effective because, like, it's not real. Even though it technically is real, it's right. So
yeah, I agree.
It's almost like they want their cake and they want to eat it too.
Well, part of the problem too
is terrible. I didn't hate it.
They explained it as an alternate universe. Yeah. So again, you're like, okay, well, but this guy's, like it's not the same guy, and so you're like, okay,
and that's the danger. That's the danger with multiverses. Like as soon as it's an alternate universe, okay, well, why do I care?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I was after that reveal, I was like, oh no, is this what we're doing? But then by the end of the episode, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate the approach to the alternate universe because it looks like that's like the extent of it. And now Angstrom Levy is stuck in this universe and he's going to be the villain, and his power isn't going to be, I can do universes. His power is going to be, I'm super smart.
Well, no. I think he still has that power. So that's the thing. So when that whole factory blew up, I was like, oh dang, the whole factory blew up. But then only those people survive. I'm like, okay, the other guys get obliterated, and somehow everybody else survives.
Yeah, he was in the middle of the machine. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, but still, like,
look, I say anyway. Even I hope that they don't. I really hope that they don't lean into the multiverse stuff because, again, as soon as it's introduced, you're like, okay, I don't care. Like, well, but it doesn't have the same impact.
It's got to, because the reason why. Okay, so here's the thing. So that bad guy, right? He doesn't know who, like, which person he is now.
Yeah, and so he's all of them.
Yeah, but so initially I was like, okay, well, because he said something. He's like, oh, I'm the only one that has powers, right? So everybody else, they don't actually have the power to go through the different multiverses, but I do. So I was like, okay, well, this guy that has the weird brain now, he's not going to be able to do that. But then at the end of that scene, when those guys split apart, it shows him do the little portal thing, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess he still can do his powers. So
I just hope they don't lean into it, because I think it's much more interesting that the bad guy is a super genius than than multiverse stuff.
Yeah, but here's the other thing too.
I'm saying there's so much more you can do with that. A guy who's just infinitely smart.
I know.
Infinite possibilities.
I get that, and he's got so many people's brains all in one, right? Like, I get that. That is interesting, and that'll be interesting to see how they take it.
But if his entire thing is, I'm going to take over the world and I'm just going to go to a whole bunch of different universes and collect an army of people, it's not going to be impactful. It's not going to matter, because killing those people won't matter. And so it's just going to be, I can have an infinite army. And the stakes just go out the window. If that's what they're going to do, I don't like it.
I don't know. But here's the other thing to that piece is that the way that he was referencing, oh man, he did this to me.
Right.
I hate him. Like, oh, I'm going to kill him,
Well, because in all of those other universes, he does hate him.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying, right?
That's interesting. He's like,
yeah. But that's why I'm also saying that it's going to play into this multiverse a little bit more, because it literally has to come from the other multiverses that hatred for Invincible comes, right? So it's these.
Well, no, because that's all internalized now. He's all of him. So
I know
you don't need. I'm saying you don't need the other universes anymore. Just
I know. I'm still worried though that it's going to come into play, especially after I saw the portal. I was like, okay, I don't know how that's going to work out, because I initially was like, oh, okay, well, maybe if he doesn't have all those powers, then yeah, this will be interesting to see how he's essentially being replaced. And now he has this.
I hope they don't screw it up, because there's so many ways where just the tension is just immediately lost.
Yeah. Well, and that was the problem, though, is like I felt like it wasn't that big of a what is happening at the end of this episode. Literally, it was just like, oh, okay, now we know who the bad guy is.
Right. It's an interesting bad guy, though.
Yeah, I mean, it is, but at the same time, it wasn't a shock. Like it wasn't
shocking.
Yeah.
Because multiverses suck. Okay.
Yeah.
So please don't lean into them. Please don't do it.
And it was weird too, because literally, like, the reason. Okay, so the guy he's hooked up to the machine and he's trying to get all the brains or whatever, or all their memories and stuff. He's literally like, "Hey, I don't want to hurt anybody. We can't kill anybody." And then, but he was told before, "Hey, if you take this off, like, it's going to be catastrophic." So he literally is like, "Hey, I'm taking this off."
Well, yeah, it did. That's why he's not sane, right? That it was messed up. He interrupted the process, and so now he's kind of crazy. That's it. Yeah. That's his origin story.
I know, but I think
he wouldn't have been unstable if he'd left it on, but now he's unstable and unhinged, and that's interesting.
Yeah, but I think that what I'm saying is his motive for taking it off was kind of meh, because he essentially was like, hey, like, I don't want you to kill that guy, so I've got to interfere. But then he ultimately is killing everybody else by doing that.
Sure. Yeah, I guess. I'm looking forward to what they do, though.
Yeah.
Every time Amber came on screen, though, it was like, oh.
Wait. Oh,
his girlfriend. Oh.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing too. Is like
she didn't even do anything wrong. Like, she was actually much more palatable, but like her character's already ruined. Anytime, like, oh, I just like you clench your butthole when you see her. And you're like, I don't want this. I don't want this to go away.
Yeah, and it was weird because there were just like these little intermittent sort of, things where it's like, oh, we're going to the same college. And you're like, okay, that was just like out of place. It was really out of place. Literally, he's like saving, he's going out and he's talking about how he wants to help, but he doesn't.
I was really hoping that they weren't going to the same college.
Yeah, right.
I was hoping that was it, and that it should be done. They can't get rid of her character because she's diverse. But
so it definitely.
But you could. But you're the one that made her diverse, so you could have gotten rid of her character, but then you changed her to make her more important and also sucky, and now you can't get rid of her because of racism. Like you created a problem. Right? You created this problem for yourself. I don't know why you did it.
Yeah. So I think the pacing was off, and the story is going to be interesting. I think it.
Yeah.
I hope that it's interesting.
I think it's a good setup.
And here's the thing too.
Not quite as impactful as season 1.
I agree. And I wonder too if we're going to see Omni-Man. I mean, I think they're kind of setting up that you're going to see Omni-Man come back.
Probably like at the end. I don't think we'll get him in the first half, which we're only getting the first half. There's going to be a hiatus between seasons.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're getting first 4 episodes and then a break, and then early next in 2004.
Oh, okay.
We'll get the next 4.
That's still a couple months. That's going to suck.
Yeah. I mean, it could be like January, like what they did with Vox Machina. They're like a month break between releases, right?
Okay.
I actually have it pulled up. Let's see.
So here's my prediction then. I think what they're going to probably go with for that end before the hiatus is they're probably going to do something drastic where it basically shows that he is becoming like his father.
Well, that's obviously what you want to play into. I don't think he's, going to become his father, but you should as a screenwriter, like you should explore that. You should have him accidentally go too far and be like, oh no, like am I becoming right?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, and I think that might be how they end it. So this little thing.
Yeah. Or you could do because his problem is kind of the opposite of great. Well, it is. It's great power, great responsibility, but it's like too much power. When do you stop? Right?
Yeah, but at the same time, like it kind of felt like he was weak in this episode.
Yeah.
Like very weak. Like it literally it shows him. It shows him helping people out at the first, but then after that, all he does is he comes in and he just floats above the thing and waits till it, and then he gets beat up by all those guys, and you're like, okay, like this guy's literally getting the crap handed to him again. So I wonder if that's part of like he has to get his confidence back or something like that because he was beat up by his father. I don't know. But he just felt really, really weak.
Yeah. Well, he's never been as strong as his father either. I was wrong. There wasn't a break between Vox Machina episodes.
Oh.
What we just watched something I guess not just, but recently where there was a break. But yeah, he's never been as strong as his father, right? And he has to get there.
I wonder if they're going to do like a whole thing where he just trying to get as big and buff as his dad or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe
I'm looking forward to it. Like I think despite not being as effective, it was a very good setup for a season, and I think the season's going to be very interesting. And I just hope.
No multiverse.
No more multiverse.
I enjoyed the episode. It was definitely, very on par with what Invincible is. So
yeah, no, it's not a lot to complain about. Just Amber, really. It's the worst character of all time. Worse than Galadriel. Like, talk about just assassination of character.
Yeah.
And it's the most obvious example too, right? Of like, we did this for points, right? They
Yeah, I hate
created
that
the
that's the
problem
direction
themselves.
people are going, but unfortunately, we have to deal with that.
We don't, though.
I mean,
We don't
unless
have to deal
you
with
direct it,
because we can give our money to the Daily Wire.
Well, that's true, and maybe we
That's the
will,
thing.
but maybe
Everyone says like, "Oh, we just
do
have to
too.
put up with it, right? We have to take it up the butt. We don't have any other choices." And you're like, "We don't, though. We don't have to. You don't have to give your money to Disney. You don't have to give your money to Disney Plus for your kids to watch good shows. There are other places you can watch good shows."
Well, yes, but that's what I'm saying is if we choose to invest in Disney Plus, then we have to accept what Disney Plus gives us.
That's why I'm not watching Loki, baby. Also because it sucks.
It's not that bad.
It's not that good either. Okay,
It's
Look,
better.
I
than
fully understand it's not as bad as some of the Marvel shows, but it is not good.
But yeah, Invincible was pretty good. Are they doing it every week? I think that's what it said.
Yeah.
Like every Tuesday, they're coming out with one.
It's Friday. It's every Friday
Friday. Okay.
for 3 weeks now. But
Okay.
so we'll have something to talk about until November the 26th, and then
Thanksgiving. Then
when is Echo being released? I'm not going to watch it. Why do I care? Actually, I might watch Echo just because I'm interested because it's going to be like R-rated. Echo release date. That doesn't. Okay, they moved it to January. Okay, so that's not on there anymore. It used to be the week after Invincible ended. So we'll have a couple off weeks, but then we could do the Year of Sanderson stream where we talk about the secret projects.
Mm.
And
I haven't followed up on those.
And maybe take a week off for Christmas. You know
what? Thanksgiving?
But that's when Rebel Moon comes out. Is the Christmas week, the 24th? Wait, is Christmas on Sunday? It's the 24th. We gotta stream on Christmas. You know we gotta talk about Rebel Moon.
I'm not streaming on Christmas.
We're streaming,
but I will not be online on Christmas. The day of our Lord.
It's Christmas and New Year's Eve, man. The 21st, the 24th, and the 31st are Sundays. Yeah. Maybe we can move it up like to Saturday or something. Because my wife would be very upset if I'm down here in the basement screaming online for 3 hours on Christmas.
Yeah, no, that would not be good for any of us. It's not gonna happen.
I know your wife. I could talk to her.
I don't think that would even help.
Talk to your mom, Jared.
That would help either.
Auntie, Jared won't stream with me on Christmas because he thinks his family's more important. Spoiler alert, Jared. I am family. So yeah, we're set for November.
Also, Christmas is actually Monday. Christmas is Monday. Christmas Eve is on Sunday.
Right, which is just as important.
Yeah, and that's not going to happen either. So
that's when you have to get all the work done.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now. Yeah. Well, that's when you read the nativity to your kids and stuff.
Yep.
Oh wait, Jared, you don't have any kids. I mean,
No.
You got an announcement to make?
No, we don't have an announcement.
Your mom texts me every week saying Jared won't have kids.
Really?
Yeah.
He does, huh?
I actually just got a butt dial from your dad today.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He does that a lot.
He's like, it literally sounded like a drive-through speaker. I'm sorry, my phone keeps doing this sometimes. I didn't mean to call you, but you're kind of Thanksgiving, right?
That's so funny. Yep, that happens a lot.
All right. Well, that's just about it. I guess we'll call it here. See you guys next week where we talk about more Invincible and a little bit less Loki. Now we'll probably talk about Loki for longer because it's the finale. What I should do is watch the finale.
See how it compares to the first?
Yeah, because I've seen one episode and like 20 minutes of 2 other episodes.
Yeah.
No, I watched one episode. I watched 20 minutes, and then I watched 5 minutes of like the middle episode.
Yeah, but you kind of skimmed one. You kind of skimmed.
That was episode 2. I skimmed.
Yeah, you kind of skimmed it.
Or I don't know. I should watch the finale and just see if I just missed anything.
No, because here's the problem. You're gonna watch the finale and you'll be like, "Well, that doesn't make sense," and I'll be like, "It did if you watch the rest of it."
But it doesn't, though. Even if you did watch the rest of it. Yeah, that was a quick episode. That's 2 hours, man. I know we normally stream for like 6. No, I think our average is 3, right? We've gone 4. We've done 5.
Wow.
The intention was always 1.
Well, we should get back to that.
And our first episode was like 3 hours long.
It's true. It's true.
I think a tight 2. I think that's a good show.
Well, it's true. When we started talking about Wheel of Time too, like, man, there were so many things that we had.
I know. Those are the long episodes. Hey, there's going to be bye weeks, Mark. There's going to be bye weeks. I'm sorry if our show's short. We could just, I could just read A Tale of Two Cities to you if you want, Mark. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Some might say
how we do it, just like Mark Clark, start in the middle.
That's the first sentence.
No, it's not.
Tale of Two Cities?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that the first... I tried reading it one time, and that's like in the middle of the book, dude.
It was the worst of times. It was the best of times.
All right. Oh, you know what? I'm thinking of the Scarlet Pimpernel, where he says, I've never done some far, far better thing than I do now than I've ever done before, sort of thing. My bad.
You know what my favorite, since we're just rambling now, I don't know why, and I don't even love the book. I like the book. But I think it's probably like one of the greatest things ever written is the ending line to The Great Gatsby.
Oh.
It is good. It's freaking good. And so we beat on boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. I just butchered it. Start over. And so we beat on boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. That's like, that is a good way to end a book.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. I love how
No, sorry, I didn't mean to call you out there because I was obviously wrong.
You were obviously wrong.
Sorry. I had my classics mixed up. Sorry.
I just love how the Great Gatsby movie just completely misunderstands the entire point of the book. Which was a criticism of the frivolity of wealth, and the movie just celebrates it.
Yeah,
the opulence, that's the whole thing. Like the billboard, the eyes. God is watching all these sinners do stupid things, and the whole point is that the guy is watching these people destroy their lives for no reason.
Yeah.
Because of wealth and lust and stupidity, arrogance. And it's saying that those things are bad. And then the movie's like, really? Opulence, baby. We got a Leonardo DiCaprio, and he's freaking hot, baby.
I was gonna say it's probably because they had him in it, but
I mean, it looked fantastic, but
it was a beautiful film, but
it doesn't quite understand the source material. I like The Great Gatsby. It's a good book.
Yeah,
if you understand it.
It's definitely one to critique. It's one that and that's the thing, because we were talking about whether or not we should be censoring, or what was it, like taking out books or whatever. But it's like, yeah, I think there are some good books that are controversial, but that's why you have them, is to talk about how controversial those topics are.
And some topics are more appropriate for older people.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I remember correctly, the opening was pretty good. Oh, I'm remembering the bit with who was it? The one comedian whose SNL bit was he just stood up and started reading The Great Gatsby verbatim, and everyone was just waiting for the joke. But it was hilarious because like the tension was there. Like, okay, when is this going to get funny? And it never does, which made it hilarious.
What?
Like he read like 5 pages of The Great Gatsby.
Wow.
It was the what's his name? It's not Jim Belushi.
Jim Mulaney?
Jim Carrey played him in Andy Kaufman.
Oh, okay.
Over the Moon. Yeah. Andy Kaufman. You should look up The Great Gatsby with Andy Kaufman. It's funny. It's hilarious. He was a troll. And he wasn't always funny, but when he was funny, he was funny. He was kind of one of those contrary comedians. Like his comedy was anti-comedy, where the joke was there is no joke.
I was gonna say, is that the episode from that Jim Carrey played that like totally messed him up?
It was a movie. Yeah, he said he met.
Yeah,
but Jim Carrey's kind of just a jerk. He was rude to everyone on set because he was he was possessed with the spirit of Andy Kaufman. But it was just Jim Carrey being a dick, you know. So that was the movie you're referencing.
Yeah.
Had some really Andy Kaufman had some really funny bits and some really unfunny bits. And the point was always to just troll the audience or whoever was interviewing him. And sometimes it worked, and sometimes it was just mean-spirited and just like, this is dumb.
Shoot.
But he had some good stuff. He certainly did. Trying to remember my favorite Andy Kaufman bit. There is a bit where he just like begs the audience for money that was hilarious.
What?
Like he like pulls out his hat. It's like any contributions will help. It's just like it's good. It's good. Anyway, we'll see you guys next week. It's a shorter show. Anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
Anything else you want to ramble about for 10 minutes?
Nope. Can't think of anything.
Look up some Andy Kaufman bits on YouTube. You'll be entertained half of the time.
Andy Kaufman.
All right. Half the time, you'll be very entertained. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
And now it is time to say goodbye.
We had a great conversation.
It's been fun. But all good things must come to an end, and the goodest ending I can think of is...
right now, this moment, this night.
So I guess we just say goodbye.
So, goodbye.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day. But come back next week for more outrageous bloopers.
This is the end.
Well, there's only one thing left to do.
I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.